while I make sure we're well adjusted. Don't think we need to zoom too much. We're not like doing anything complicated today. Okay, so here we go with the ads. Why not? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving or a happy Thursday yesterday. I haven't motivated yet for the day, so I apologize for my morning yawns. It's noon here, but I haven't started work. I didn't want to get into a project and then go live, so I thought I would go live and then get into all of my projects. All right, everyone's starting to pop in. Welcome, welcome, everybody. I have my Christmas tinier scraps, and I'm going to start by cutting a piece of interfacing. Tuck the microphone cord away. I don't know, is this? Yes, this is the cardboard that is for the P44F fusible interfacing. It's a very lightweight. It was created for Joann's, and I've been able to see it online, but not as great of a price. Hi, Melanie. I think I need to make my screen a little bigger. Hi, David. New Mexico, you're not too far away from me, or I'm not too far away from you. Let's see if I can just... There we go. Now maybe I can see the comments a little bit better. I still have a few yards left. I was looking. Michael's has their Cyber Monday sale where you can use Cyber 40 for 40% off items, but it does not include this specific interfacing. Like, well, that's not nice. $1.99 is still the best price I've seen so far. I don't need to have a whole lot. I just have these, and I can always cut more. Normally I lay it out all the way across the table and do a large bit. Those of you that have been here with me for a while, I've even done it here in this house, but today I'm just going to keep it the size of my wool mat here. Normally I don't even use the wool mat. I use an old ironing board because I don't want to accidentally glue the interfacing to the wool mat. But if I behave myself, I should be okay. Just chop off a piece. And I'll put my pins back in to keep everything nice. I do have a little bit of a heavier interfacing. I like the fusible, of course. But with the lightweight, it keeps the weight light because a fabric postcard can be mailed if it weighs less than an ounce. So if you start adding more weight to things, plus all the scraps and the quilting, and even just the comic book board or whatever you use on the back, it all adds weight to it. So I have to be careful. Keep you here, excuse me, out of the way. Hi, Janice. Sunny and cold. I don't know what the temperature is right now, but I think the high today is like 73. I'm wearing jeans and a short sleeve t-shirt. I do have the window closed, and my bedroom is currently 71 degrees. With 62% humidity, that's kind of nice. Ever since we had those days and days of rain, the humidity has been pretty good here, at least in the house. I am going to put some pins in just to ensure that things don't move or flip, but usually once I get going. Hi, Cheryl from Texas. These are called magic pins. They have like a silicone tip to it so that you can iron right onto it. And I'll just put the four corners down because if I get talking and not paying attention, I might flip it and make it just go a little weird, and we don't need that. I am using what I call a palm iron because it fits into the palm of my hand. This one is Pure Steam. It's from Amazon. I don't think you can get this one specifically anymore. This is not one of the ones that got recalled about 4 or 5 years ago or something. This one is, it's fine. It turns on and it gets extremely hot and it does not automatically shut off. It only has a little bit of steam holes on the bottom, and I like to use this for fusing things down. Like if I'm going to do applique or something like that that you machine stitch down. Yeah, 32 is cold. Yeah, 32 is too cold for Robin. I'm already cold enough here. I'm not prepared for that kind of temperature. I put a link in the description box to the fabric postcard playlist. So if you're kind of curious what's going to happen to these afterwards, these are going to be Christmas ones specifically due to the scraps. I'm walking away to grab some of my other fabric postcards that I just haven't finished yet. I call it, when I stitch around it, thread binding. So basically I'm going for something like this. And there's an ad. Oh, do we have Giovanna? The ad made me think of Giovanna. Giovanna's not here. I hope she comes in. I know she likes to hang out with us. So I just put the various scraps, and there's a whole process with fusible fleece or batting, a bunch of quilting. Now these are similar to what I'm going to do today, and I'm not sewing anything together. I'm just going to overlap everything by about 1/4 of an inch. So I already have a stash of these that need to be finished off. I usually save this for the evening when I don't have much going on and I can just watch a movie and just stitch around everywhere. I was playing with quilting in a circle. It's a little bit small to practice it on, but I am able to. So I did it on this one also. So it's been fun to just test that out. And I just been plopping. It's so professional, so dignified. Just putting my scraps on and just having a good time sewing them down. And then I put them into this container, and eventually I will finish them and they'll go into my fabric postcard stash. I'm going to get back into doing some postcard giveaways next year. I do have the postcard clubs in my Etsy shop where you can choose the theme of the postcard. Whoops. Did I pull you? No, you guys okay? All right. Then you can get one like every month or on specific holidays or stuff like that. So I like to have a bunch extra. And then next year I want to go back to working on my rainbow ones so that I have like a bunch of red with just mainly red fabric, then a bunch with mainly green fabric and stuff like that. I do also want to make more that are themed to like if I was making a mug rug and I would have flying geese on it and half square triangles and stuff. So scraps, but scraps that I've sewn compared to just what I'm going to do today. I have this little this story with this. My daughter likes when you put your spices in here, like you're making dinner and you have everything set out and measured versus the cans. She just wanted to be fancy, so we got a bunch of these. I actually melt the butter for the popcorn in it, and I knew better, and I took it out of the microwave, buttered my popcorn, and put cold water over it, and it cracked inside. So I just started using that for the little bits. There's small things and triangles and stuff, but this one has more of like the larger strips and things. Anything that was narrower than 1.5 inches, I popped it into this container. Only Christmas, or I consider Christmas to also be winter. Sometimes I'll do just a winter theme. I'm not really sure yet about these. I know these were Walmart ones. Just remember it. And I think it's going to be fine for postcards. It has that, it's not see-through and it's sturdy and stuff, but it just kind of has this feel to it. So I'm going to hold those off to the side and then decide what I'm going to do with them. Pair of scissors. Little bits can fill in the spaces. And like this one was binding that I put on a mug rug and didn't like it, but I do need to remove all of the threads before I can use that. Excuse me a second. Good evening, Gwen. How are you doing? I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Actually, making the fabric postcards doesn't usually work for like a live stream because there is a ton of sewing and it gets quite loud. And it would be kind of hard to just hear the sewing. I feel like it'd be rough hearing the sewing machine go nonstop. So I want to look. Every one I touch just seems to be longer ones. Here we go. So I just start off by putting it on the fusible interfacing. The rough side is up. You can do this with any kind of fusible. You can also put some spray adhesive down and do that. This was the P44F used to be like 99 cents a yard at Joann's, and I used to be able to get it on sale for 29 or 39 cents a yard, but most of the time it at least dropped down to 49 cents, and then I'd buy 10 or 20 yards of it and stock up because I use it a lot. I really like this. Oh, that's right, you're in the UK. Well, I hope you had a good Thursday. I did. I spent all of Wednesday cooking. And then Thursday, I didn't have to worry about that. I could spend the time eating. Now, most of the time, I try to keep a straight edge on it. This one has a little bit of a curve. It's not that big of a deal. And I'm going to put it this way, though, so that curve does go underneath. And I just want to build rows. And I can get to a certain point, and I can hear this. And I also have this little one over here. I don't want to use the wool mat right on my cutting table here because the mat will warp. That's why I have a doubled up really thick bath towel here. And just for a quick little iron over there, it's going to be okay. But if I find that I'm ironing more than one piece every minute or so, then I'll want to change it up. So now I'm just laying them down so it'll go like this. I do have red, green, red, so I want to be careful. I don't want to keep doing that. And then I'll just add this piece. And if I'm building it and I'm like, oh, I really like the snowmen, so I can move them to the forefront so they stand out a little bit more. And I can do the same thing with the Christmas lights. And I can fill in those empty spaces as I go. I don't want to have a bunch of light things and I don't want to have a bunch of dark things, but I also don't want to be super particular. That had some fuzzies on it. So then I can come back through, make sure I have all the threads. Where am I going to put? I'll put it over there. Make sure I have all the threads off, and then I can, like I said, I was going to say, is I can go through and maybe I want to fill in some empty spaces over here and just do that. I also keep my tweezers handy, and that way it's easier for smaller pieces. Smaller pieces I find get stuck to my fingers easier, so it's better to have the tweezers so that I can move things around a little bit. What did YouTube put down below here? Oh, an exclusive free gift. All I saw at the bottom of my screen was this gray area, and I was curious. I tangle myself up in the cord. Does anyone have any plans? Did you guys purchase some fun Black Friday things online? I worry after saying that now of warping my mat over there. I was looking at Michael's. A friend told me that Michael's has their yarn on sale for Black Friday. I was just moving that around so it kind of matches. Those are stockings, but they're not much of a shape. So the triangle pieces, I'm going to save them over there so I can bunch them together. Hi, Jackie. And keep them kind of organized that way. I need a little ruler and a rotary cutter. I don't want to deal much with, yes, they're straight lines, but they're not actually, you know, full on straight. I would like it to be, I don't want diagonal lines. So I just have this little mat. This is a Dollar Tree mat, and it works perfect for things like this. Oh, that's too shiny. I have the start of a migraine. I've been trying to battle for a few days. I don't want to deal with it, and gotta watch the lights. Sometimes the Missouri Star colors of their rulers and templates kind of drive me a little crazy. Missouri Star has something new out. Let me see if they have a template set. I put it up on Instagram, and you can make double wedding ring with the template. So it has the pieces for the corners, the arch, and the melon. So I just did a quick little 2 fabric one for Instagram. And I'm really looking forward to doing it. There's a version where you can they have the little weird shaped cutout to do the arches here, or whatever they're called, with scraps. And I saw a Christmas version against a white background, and I really loved it. So that's going to be something I'm working on. I'll probably in January or whenever I'll start cutting up my larger scraps. I just took the little leftover bits and made some little squares. I really want that. That is fun. I like the arches with the double wedding rings and stuff like that for a Christmas quilt. I thought that would be really fun. Waiting on Boxing Day, they have better sales. It's kind of crazy now here in the US. It's like everything is on sale at some point or another. You've got Prime Day this and Walmart's Day that, and then you have the extra Christmas in July, and then maybe you'll get something else. You have Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday. I'm just going to put this right across there, and I will cut that off. Press that a little bit. Oops. I'm going to move this guy over here for now on the table. Sorry you can't see it, but I just ironed a piece of fabric. It was exciting. Oh yeah, there's tons of pieces, right, Melanie? But I've always loved them, even before I started, like when I first started seeing quilts. Yeah, I want to do that. When I first started seeing quilts, even before making them, I really did love the double wedding ring. I like sketching circles for, you know, just sitting there and drawing stuff and everything. So then I'll take this one, I'll put this one on the bottom. It does have that little bit of a wide and narrow bit. So let me see if I can just kind of avoid getting too weird. And there's that. So these two don't really need to go in anymore. And if your fabric goes past the interfacing, that's not a problem either. So I'll put the snowman back. I'll just put them down here. You could start in the middle and work your way out too. I've just always just worked it this way without really thinking too much. And it allows you to bring in a variety of fabrics that have the theme. Like maybe you're tired of using this, or you just have that one little, oh, I have all these triangles too. I forgot I set those in there. It's a great way to just use up. But now you can use this if you don't do fabric postcards. You can make well, you can make coasters, mug rugs, but I was thinking like hot pads because a lot of times when I give a gift like that, people don't want to actually use it because they're like, oh, it's too nice. I can't use it. But if it's like crazy scrappiness and stuff, then they're not as hesitant, right? So, like, I was just looking at my hot pads. I've been using them for a couple years. I've washed them and stuff, but they're still kind of looking like it's going to be time to update pretty soon. And I won't feel bad about tossing it out, right? Yeah, I saw one of the people that were doing the same thing from Missouri Star showcasing it as part of their Black Friday deal because it's a new template and all that. She did it like that, but she did low volume in the background. So it kind of has that, it allows the Christmas to pop, but at the same time, it's not just like pure white. So I'll probably end up with like a white on white. Now these trees in the truck go this way. I could go ahead and incorporate that in still. I could add it in and just work some smaller pieces. And that's kind of fun too because it adds that little bit of not dimension, but directional difference or something like that. So I think that's kind of fun too. So it just depends on what you're doing and what you have going on. You can do the same thing with squares. When I did the recent mug rugs, I put all my squares on this interfacing and I just lined them up neatly. And then I did that where you stitch on it like it's already been printed on with the squares for the fusible interfacing and stuff. And it works out really good because I really didn't want to do the 1.5 inch squares. I think there was like 54 of them. I didn't want to do that and stitch all of them because it's a lot. You don't have to worry about which way your seams are going or anything with this process. Just putting a couple over there that I think I might want to go in a certain direction. Hi, Laura. Oh, yep. You have plenty of time to put up the Christmas tree. If you're a little late, you can do it tomorrow. You always have to think of how you're feeling first. Yeah, I think it would be fine, right? You could do still the same amount of quilting. And if you have this big panel, once everything's fused down, I could then practice that circular, or maybe I want to practice some melons or just some actual straight lines, and then you just chop it up. It doesn't matter if the whole thing, right, is a certain way. Once you chop it all up, it'll work. And this is where I come in with like my tweezers when I look at this and I have that seam going over it. Now, what I'm going to do makes zero sense to me, to anybody. Sometimes I don't like a smaller piece onto a bigger piece, so I might pull this so that that red goes underneath and it kind of feels better to me. Again, I'm going to chop it up, right? What's it going to matter? I don't know. But if my eye says, hey, do this, then I'm going to, hey, do that. This doesn't have to be perfect because, it's scraps. It's not going to be like this earth-shattering thing that, everything has to be absolutely perfect and stuff. I hear you, Smorzies. What? I fed you. I fed you. What you want? What you want? I got nothing for you. Are you just being mouthy? Do you want to eat? Okay, hold on. Hold on. I need an extra 3 inches to be able to reach. There you go. Eat your 12th meal of the day. Little Smorzies, my little girl, she's a nibbler. There's an ad. she likes to eat like 10 pieces of dried kibble and then take a nap. And then when she wakes up, she might want another handful or just 4 pieces. I think she just likes to scream and control me. 20 people. Yes, that's a lot. Not that 20 people, it's entertaining and just sitting around talking to 20 people, I feel like is a lot of energy, but it's also a lot of prep work, right? Because if you're doing a prep or someone else's, it's still a lot of work to go through and make all the food, serve or let people, family buffet it. But then even with the dishwasher, you still have to fill it and empty it and all of that. I don't like to throw away my ho stuff. I like to keep it and just, even when it's narrower, like I just still like to bring it into stuff. I woke up this morning, I hope it's just allergies or the migraine starting, because I just kind of feel like I sound like I got something going on. It is the season here. I try to avoid, people in general. The flu actually started in this area in July. The pharmacist was telling me. That's crazy. Okay. And then this has some of this lightweight interfacing on it already from another project, but I don't mind. I'll still bring it in. And then I have a small piece, and that kind of looks like weird to me, but I can go in and look for a little piece up here maybe, and then I can just kind of tuck it in somewhere. Come here, small dish. Let's dump you out. I even have some of these little strips. I like to save it until I decide if I'm going to use it or not. And then after I make this project, I just go ahead and toss all the extra scraps that aren't going to be used. Like these were all cut off when I made the coasters and stuff. So they're all like themed. You kind of want to keep them. Here's a gnomey dude. Oh, here's a snowman. I can even come through and just pop that snowman right there on top. But I won't. I'm going to put this guy in. He fits perfectly underneath there. And I like to do this because I'll make a bunch at once. And then when I'm ready for it, I can go ahead and start using it. I'm going to be doing this with some of my salvages also. 5 a.m. I remember those 5 a.m. days. They're not fun. Ooh, turkey tenderloin, turkey chili. That all sounds good. I just cooked up a whole huge turkey. I have it all sliced up, and when it gets to be, let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, usually around Sunday or Monday, I want to make sure it's like around 4 or 5 days, then I'll go through and start putting things in the freezer. I bought some sweet potatoes, so while I was roasting everything, I made some sweet potato fries. I made butternut squash roasted, acorn squash. I love acorn squash. Now, one of the things is my postcards, I trim them down to 4.5 by 6.5. So if I want to think about something, like I don't want that snowman to be cut off. So if I were to cut right from here, the snowman goes from 4 to 5.25. So I would lose him. I don't want to lose him. So I'll move him over and I'll find something else. I want it to be in the next postcard. So I kind of want him to be more like here, so that he's in the postcard and he doesn't have like his head cut off. Yeah, I don't want to cut off a snowman's head. It's just not nice. It's not nice. That's a fun fabric. And when you're working with scraps, you're probably going to be working with the same scraps all the time. So you can choose to put them together or move them around a little bit. And then just, there you go. Yeah, I don't know, Laura. I just woke up kind of feeling like, ugh. I'm hoping it's just a headache, so it just kind of goes. But, you know, it's that time of year, right, when the seasons are changing and people are everywhere. We didn't have, it was just me and the boys, so it's like we didn't have a big gathering or anything. It's just one of those things. Now, when I cut this, if there's like a piece left over down here, a piece left over there, I can always like sew those together or overlap them also to make sure that, you know, everything's getting used, and I'm not just throwing things away after I've taken the time to piece things together. And fabric goes in different directions, and also remember it's reversible. So if there's something on the other side that you like, you can go ahead and use that. I'm not going to be super picky about all of the pieces to make sure, but that one snowman, I just think he's kind of cute. And I do pull the ho 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 out and put that on top. Now sometimes if the fabric is not touching the fusible, I'll go through and I'll put just some Elmer school glue underneath to make sure that it's going to stay in place. See, I have a lot of this. This is just cut from probably, it looks like layer cakes. I'm going to need to do another panel, it looks like, so I'll just pull it all out and just take all of these straight lined ones and just go straight across. And if the postcards, I make 2 of them that are the same, it's going to be okay, right? And like this piece here, I could treat it like a ribbon. If I had a lot of dark colors, I could just put some stick glue or school glue on top and glue it in place. A lot of these strips. So let's do these. We'll put that there. Just work our way and then fill in the gaps again. And then hold this down and put it back. And I try not to hit it with the iron until I know that I have an area that I absolutely like. That gnome's got most of his head gone anyway, so he can stay like that. You have to remember that there's no point being like too picky because these are just scraps, right? Chances are they would have been thrown in the trash. So it doesn't matter too much, you know, how you lay them out and stuff. You just want to feel for the Christmas. Yeah, for the weather not being like weathery here, it sure does seem to affect my allergies. I've never made turkey chili. I've made like using ground turkey versus ground beef, but not like putting chunks of chicken like a white chicken chili or just chunks of turkey or something. I did take all of the meat off the bones. I didn't save the carcass because I haven't used the broth from last year's turkey. So I decided that I didn't want to do it, so I just tossed it. I know I could have put the carcass in the freezer and stuff, but I didn't even want to have that thought process, right? So I have it all, and I'll do make like turkey pot pies, and I'll have some turkey fajitas and stuff with it. Like this one. This one's kind of cute with the little teddy bears and the snowman, but I don't think I would use this in everyday sewing, but to tuck it in somewhere in a fabric postcard, I think it'll be okay. Oh, there's little penguins on it there too. That's kind of fun. And it just becomes like a puzzle. Where are you going to put everything? Will it all fit? So I have some of these are already going up and down. Maybe I want to use it to cover up this spot there. A random piece of, this has cardinals and stuff on it. So I'll put that up here. Whoops, there goes the snowman. It is helpful if you can iron some sections down just to keep everybody from stop moving. I think my hands create static or something, and that's why the tweezers are helpful. But I have like a little spot. What do I have? I want to save them for something else. Oh, I'll add an extra ho 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 there. To finish it off, cover up the ones that were cut off. This isn't like anything that's super exciting, and it just kind of, you know, here it is, putting these together. It's one of those things that just, it takes time, and I do it in little stages. When I think this is good when you're like, I want to do something crafty, but I'm not interested in doing anything, or I just came off of a big project. What do I want to work on next, or something like that? And you can just pull out your scraps, and however you do your scraps, you know, not everyone's going to want to do something like this. Then you do your version of it, and that way you are scrapping and you're being creative, but you're not like using a whole lot of brain power. And I'm trying to get the glue. And you're not like really thinking so much like, okay, I've got to get a perfect 1/4 inch seam, and which piece on the quilt block is this and which one is that. I have a, oh, to put like the Teflon mat. Yeah, I sometimes would put a Teflon mat underneath it before I had the wool mats and stuff like that. I put everything in the closet, but I think on our next live stream, I want to start doing some of those foundation papers from the Fat Quarter Shop. Oh, I was going to glue this. I'm sorry, I don't normally. Remember, I have a affiliate link for the Fat Quarter Shop that if you do a little shopping there, if you follow through my link, then I earn a little bit of a commission from it, and it helps support me and my small business, so I appreciate that. And I think that's what we're going to do next year. I signed up to work with Missouri Star again. I don't know what they're going to be doing next year, but I wanted to do some things where I chose what we're doing. So that's why I heard a lot of good things about the Fat Quarter Shop. So I wanted to join in with their program. And I tend to go shopping there anyway. Like, I don't want to join something that, like Temu harasses me constantly about, oh, that's glued. That's silly. About joining in and doing a sponsored thing with them. But I don't shop at Temu. I don't plan on shopping at Temu. So I don't want to say, hey guys, you know, let's go shop at Temu. It's not my thing. But I've shopped at Fat Quarter Shop over the years a lot. I really enjoy their products and stuff. So if anyone does use my link, I appreciate that. All of that sidetracked to say, this is what we're going to be doing during the live stream. So if you want to find a similar project or the same project and work on it with us, that's what I'm going to be doing. Because if I don't, then I know that I won't use those papers and they're just going to end up sitting, right, and not being used anywhere. Now I'm just going to hope that this is going to be on a postcard and not chopped up too much. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I love freezer meals. Like if you don't want to eat, right, if you've prepped for stuff, you guys hold on a second. I'm going to go get a ginger ale and see if maybe. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, I hear from people a lot. They're like, I don't want to eat leftovers. I don't want to meal prep because I don't want to eat the same thing. If you slowly build up your freezer meals, like I think it was like October, I had 5 different weeks of meals in the freezer. So if I'm like, oh, I want fajitas today, I had that. If I wanted a rice and chicken, I had that. So by having different things, they're going to last more than a week in the freezer. So you can pull out, you had Thanksgiving this week, you're done. Maybe in 2 weeks you want turkey again. So you can just pull out a freezer meal. I almost always have chili in the freezer because I can't eat that much. I usually eat 1 bowl of chili and I'm like, I'm good. I'm going for Canada Dry caffeine-free ginger ale cranberry. I really like the cranberry. I thought blackberry was my favorite, but cranberry has a bit more flavor to it. I'm going to put it over here because I didn't get a cup. Make sure I don't spill it, but you know what? If I spill it, it's my room and it'll be my fault. Hopefully, let's see. Yeah, those should be like a little bit off and not hang out together. I'm going to keep filling this in. We're not going to stay forever, maybe an hour and a half or so, but I want to fill this in and then I want to pull that out and do that one. Just to put a whole bunch of stripes on. So even if you don't want to deal with like these small scraps, just to lay your fabric down, just a few dots. You don't need a lot of glue because you're just holding it in place until you can start stitching, whoops, and quilting it down. So put that there. You go back to where you were. You can go right there. It's just, I do like larger bits of fabric and have a very specific look to it and everything, but I also like just having a variety of scraps. Now, I think, yep, only need 1 layer of fabric there. I don't want to make it too thick. I don't make my postcards the same as I used to when I first started. And then if you want to like tuck it under, you can pull this one. Let me fill these spaces in so that I can actually finish this off. Oh, here's one. What's this? This fits perfectly there. More triangles. A little bit of that. Just kind of let the fabric decide for itself if it wants to be on the top or the bottom or what it's got going on. So I don't know why smaller pieces stick to my fingers more than larger pieces. So then I need, what did I do? Oh, I bumped the mouse. All right, so I guess, oh, I'm on top chat now. Top chat, live chat, escape. Anytime you do something, you got to switch back to live chat. Are we good? Is everybody happy? Tomorrow, small batches go in the freezer. Yeah, and you can really, like I said, I got a really big turkey. I can just go ahead and take it, and before it even like makes it to the table or whatever, it can go into the freezer right away. You don't even have to wait. Normally I have more small pieces. Where are all the small pieces? I will create small pieces. What we got over here? There's my snowman. And the candy cane. The over-under bit of it is quite annoying to me. Kind of really frustrates me. But it's one of those things. Skip what you don't like to do and do more of what you do like. And if you don't like the way it looks, then you know you have to do something, right? If you don't like it, you have to put the cardinal upside down. Oh, the hat. And sometimes when I go to make the postcard, I see there's an empty spot that I didn't notice early on, and I can just add a little piece in. Okay. Now I don't do it this way a lot. Usually I have I cut mine 4.5 by 6.5, so I cut whatever material I'm doing 5 by 7. So after it's quilted, like when I cut these, I'll cut them maybe 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 or 5 by 7. And there's that pin up there that is the magic pin that can handle the heat, but it's in my way. And I'll just take one project and I'll make one little postcard out of the leftovers and not deal with it again. I don't always go through this process. I used to, and I do like it. The Joann's fabric that has a silver printed on it always sticks to the iron. Another pin. I've seen people, I've got something, when I get close enough, I can see like this lightweight, you can just pull it up and unhook whatever was there and can move it. It's shifted. They take like the thread scraps and put it, see, that's that darn fabric, and put it down. And then put like a piece of gauzy type stuff on top and just quilt it like crazy. They'll do a similar process. There, you're going to behave now. And I don't worry about the threads unless there's a lot of fraying going on. I'll wait until either I'm photographing it for the shop or I'm sending it out to someone, because sometimes if you handle it a bunch, it's going to fray anyways, especially now before it gets sewn down. Sometimes I'll take the big threads out when I'm quilting it. I think I really want to do this one in a spiral, because I want to do some tote bags and maybe some mini quilts that have spiral quilting. And this is a really great way to practice it, because if you mess it up and you go back and add some extra quilting in, it's not that big of a deal on a postcard, but you might not want to do it on, you know, your actual quilt. I never have the patience to hold it on long enough. My computer has just been going wackadoodle lately. It just like shifts back and forth. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, right there, there's some. So you're adhered pretty good. Let's move you up. And then, do I have a little ho, ho, ho? I have this also. And I can just add in there. I've done it without the glue because you do have some there, but by the time I'm done handling it, you know, showing it in a video and doing it and everything, it always ends up moving. So it's just easier to put some glue. If you have a glue sticks dry up too fast for me because I don't use them that often, but the Elmer School Glue or a generic version thereof tends to stay nice and liquidy for me. That'll work. All right, stay there now. Stay. Behave. I just want everything to stay long enough. Oh, I got glue on the snowman. That's the problem. I want everything to stay long enough so that I can cut another piece and make the striped version. This is now live stream number 8 during my time frame where I will need to do 10 to get my little free YouTube hat. I described it as like when Rob and I used to donate blood all the time, you get a free t-shirt or a coffee mug. I don't need a lot of incentive, but if you're going to give me something like that for donating, then yeah, I'm going to join in. So if you want to give me something for doing live streams, they want us to learn that doing a live stream can add to more people coming to your channel and stuff. And I'm a little channel when it comes to that, especially with the live streams. I don't have anything exciting going on. People don't come here that don't come here normally. So I don't think it's going to do much for me. But we'll see. Never know. Never know. This is where I saved the little bits, and then at some point I will throw them away. When I'm done doing stuff like this, then it can get tossed. So that way, when it comes time for Christmas next year, I'll have used up, hopefully, a decent amount of my scraps, and we won't have to use too much. All right, what color would I like? Oh, there's a little bit of Santa butt in there. That's for the Teflon. I don't need big scissors like that. Oh, guess I did want them. Some days I want a specific pair of scissors, and other days I really don't care. Apparently today I wanted something specific. Oh, your father was hungry and he wanted it now, right? It's okay. I know people come and go, and more people catch the live streams afterwards. I had a request for some evening ones, but I already struggle enough keeping up with myself during the day. My brain gets extra tired at night, so nighttime ones really aren't very good for me. Well, after Thanksgiving, you're supposed to have leftovers, and even those that don't like it are supposed to just deal with it. Like I'll have, I have. Am I not live? Oh, my live wasn't playing. There we go. I thought I just died or something there. Come on. Okay, come on. Am I still live? Yes, it says I'm live. Okay, bear with me when I talk to myself. Yeah, I had a turkey meal for Thanksgiving, at like lunchtime. I had the turkey with the cranberry sauce and the veggies and all of that stuff. And then that night, last night, I had a turkey sandwich. Where did all of this craziness come from? And I'll do it again today. Before the live stream, I wanted to have a little bit of something. I had those candied cranberry things where you use the powdered sugar and bake them in the oven for like 200 and stuff. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Take that laptop and YouTube. Yeah, so I don't mind. I'll have the same thing. I'll just have a variation of it. Like, I don't care if I have a meal and then a sandwich, or a burger and some other beefy thing or something or another. Well, I grew up, well, this is the food that went on your plate, right? You're going to eat it. I don't care if you like it or not. This is what I'm serving you today. Have fun. I'm like, yes, thank you very much for feeding me. I appreciate you. And I will eat the nasty thing you have given me. We ate a lot of pasta growing up. Like 3 days a week. Ate a lot of pastas. Drove me crazy. I'm not much of a pasta person. I couldn't tell you the last time I ate like pasta in red sauce. Okay, everybody good? Take out, where's the pins? Take out the pin. Excuse me while I reach in front of you. Take out the pin. I wasn't sure if I was going to like them. We made them last year for the first time. I'm sure that it was just because they were super popular that they've been around longer than that. The trick is definitely to put them in the refrigerator for 24 hours before you make a full opinion about them. I probably had 15 of them while standing in the kitchen talking to Robbie before the live stream. It's that little sweet and sour type to it, and it's just like sitting down and jelly beans, M&Ms, Skittles, whatever, gummy bears, you're just sitting there and popping them in one after the other. You have to know your oven. One lady had hers kind of like all the powdered sugar melted off of it because her oven runs a little hot. I need a right there. I really enjoyed them. My daughter likes them. The boys do not. They look at us like we're crazy. Last year, I just soaked them a little bit in ginger ale. This year, I soaked it overnight in ginger ale. Did it make any difference? Not that I could tell. Father's 87. Growing up, he always cooked because my mom didn't like to. Now he just wants to be waited on hand and foot. Yeah, sometimes gentlemen of a certain age get to a certain point in life and they're like, that's it. Plus, if you're like the male or female, young or old, whatever, when you do all of the cooking or most of the cooking and cleaning and stuff, you really just don't want to do it after a certain time. You're like, I put in my time, I'm done. So this I think even with the fabric postcard, I put white batting underneath it. If it has a little spot, like I said, I can glue a piece on. It can be difficult. It might be hard to do this one. The other one I'll definitely do in the spiral. The quilting is meant to, I put batting down and then I quilt it. So the quilting is meant to hold all of these seams. For this one, I will probably just go straight up and down, about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch apart. On the next one, it'll be all strips, so it'll be easier, because if you're sewing in a spiral, you might end up like catching pieces. Because I'm just going to use my presser foot. I don't use free motion or anything to do it. So that could become an issue, but it all depends, right? This is going to be different every time I do it. I'll do the measurements and check. I might just, for this one, cut them up into the pieces and quilt each one individually, because then I can just feed them through the sewing machine one after the other and chain piece it, or just do small bursts. But if you want to do something fancy and like practice the free motion or the circles, then a bigger piece is more helpful. It's nice when, Laura, it's nice when you make enough food for people to take home. Cooking a turkey, yes, the time changes, but the effort of cooking a 10-pound turkey versus an 18-pound turkey, we used to get 2 medium-sized turkeys. I'd cook one on Wednesday for leftovers, and it was just the 5 of us, but we wanted leftovers. And then I'd have the fresh one that we would cook on Thanksgiving Day, so it's hot out of the oven. Now it's just me. The boys do their thing. My daughter does her thing. And, so I just cooked everything the day ahead. I wanted to feel like I was relaxing on Thanksgiving, even though Thanksgiving just occurred on Wednesday versus Thursday. Okay, so this can get set aside. And if I need to, I'll probably spend a little bit more time pressing it, right, to get everyone to lay flat. And then I'll bring another one out. Thanks, Laura. I kind of worry sometimes, like, I know it's not for everyone, and that doesn't bother me. I mean, entertainment-wise, you're just kind of hanging out, right? But I want people to have options that if they want to try it, there's something that they can do themselves that would make them happy, right? So let me just pop this in right now. This, because it's coming off of a bolt, it does curl. You can get this in like sheets, and I think this one only comes 20 inches wide. Fusible fleece you can get in 2 different widths, but I think you might be able to get this in like pre-cut sheets. The one place on Etsy, they show you like this amazing price, and then it's like, for a fat quarter or a quarter yard or something. So their amazing price of like $1.42, which isn't like exciting, but it's a good price. But that's for a half yard cut or something like that. And then the rest of it is expensive. Now I just take this, and I have an area, these weird shelves in my closet, and I just put it on like this, like you'd buy it at the store, and it stays on the cardboard bolt, because Joann's ended up buying like a whole bolt one time. And you can also go to anyone who's cutting fabric, and if they have these, just ask them if you can have some. And then you can write on it. There's always space to write on what it is. And then you can just stack them like a store, and they stay nice and neat. I might have this, I don't know, this cardboard is probably not as old as this channel, but I think it's probably at least 5 or 6 years old. And I just find I can keep everything nice and neat. It doesn't get all crinkled, because you can use Teflon sheets and iron it, but really, I mean, you're going to iron fusible interfacing. That's not easy. Okay, so this time I want to do these strips, because I have all of these strips. Now these smaller ones, I am going to use them, but I think I will... Oh, it looks like it's about 9. Oh, it's 10 inches from a layer cake. I think what I'll do with these is I'll keep these separate for cutting out small squares or rectangles and doing it on its own versus what I'm going to do right here. So I want to keep all of those up there. And I'm just going to lay everybody down. I'll even put a pin through the fabric. And it can just stay there. And I won't even worry about cutting the excess off right now. And you can decide what looks nice and what, you know, maybe you want to do red and white stripes or certain fabrics specifically that are really important to you. And you could put a pin here and there. Sorry, I only read half a comment. You did a 24-pound turkey and a 10-pound ham. Now for us, ham is always now growing up we had ham for the big family Thanksgiving, and that was always there. But for my little family, we just did the turkey, and then ham was for Christmas. So I want to see which ones are going to be long enough to go all the way across first. And even if it gets a little crooked, I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry because I can always cut these so that this right here, and it goes up and down. If going on the horizon, your eye notices crookedness more, and it's like, I don't like it. You can also do we can do diagonal. Hey, let's do diagonal. Let's do it. Because I do a lot of postcards. I find that the strips look nicer in the fabric postcards when you have ads and the computer's being mean to you. There we go. Right before you moved, you found the fusible for 50 cents a yard at Walmart. I have been looking at Walmart online, and I haven't seen any amazing prices for them yet. So this does not go all the way. So that's okay. I'll just put a pin on both ends. Now, if you want to be scrappy, but it's driving you crazy, it's not like I cut this specifically to a size anyway. I find that doing this diagonal strips changes up the way it looks, and it actually appears nicer. So this is kind of like a string quilt. Start with your longer pieces and go from... I hear you. I hear you. I know. I know. What's the matter? Yeah. I'm right here. In the past year or so, like since we moved to Arizona, S'mores will wake up in the middle of a really deep sleep nap, and she'll just do that weird crying thing, and it looks very sad and pathetic. And I just talk to her, and she wakes up enough and calms down and feels better. So I'm like, okay, we're good. And now I can just take pieces. I can figure out where they're going to go full length like that. Oh yeah, a bolt with the t-shirts. Yeah, that goes quick, doesn't it? And then just find a space where it's going to fit. And fill in the blanks. And when it gets to a certain point like these are different lengths, but I can take them and overlap them, because that's all I'm doing is just overlapping. And then adjust for wonkiness, because it's wider at one end and narrower on the other. And then when I cut these out like this, they'll be diagonal and you won't notice the wonkiness as much. Yes, sweetie. Hi, I hear you. Did you want to say hi to your friends? All right, let's do it this way. This is S'moresies. She wants to say, whoop, 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 whoop. Say hi to your friends. Say hi, everybody. I'm a little mouthy today. I think she's had a tummy ache this week. A little sour belly. She's the one that was born with some medical issues, and she has like digestive issues. And I think she just had a tummy ache this week. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about Walmart having like the good sales on stuff like that. to get this to work, I have to move it down a little bit. So I might have some thin strips that I don't prefer not to put red on there, but I can. Maybe I want to put some pieces in and then just build up going across. So here's like 2 of these that are from the same fabric. I have these trees. These are both Walmart fabrics from many, many moons ago. I have these owls. I like these owls. Some snowmen. Maybe I'll put some of these through here. I think these are Walmart also. Then this guy's a little sideways, but he's a small piece. We can't have everything, right? It's stuck together. Oh, it's a long piece. There we go. And you can also change up the color of the thread that you're sewing with to give it a little bit of some extra color or texture or whatnot to it, right? I can take this snowman out and put that in. Maybe slide this down. Whoa. Whoa. My dogs have tummy aches today, but I think they got lots of treats. Yeah. Now, my girls, I don't think they got... Now, one cat had some turkey, because when I cut the turkey breast, I soak it in... I use the chicken bouillon powder and make like a broth and put it in the containers so that it doesn't dry out. And I gave it to Whiskers, my big girl, and she went absolutely crazy. She was like racing around the room like a maniac, and she was diving after her sister's stuff and trying to take theirs. So I don't think they really had many treats yesterday. I know Whiskers did. And when I had a piece of turkey today before the live stream, Whiskers was right there trying to get more. But when you have people in the house, there's always going to be somebody giving treats to the pets, right? Doesn't have to be fancy. We're not using lots of brain power. These are 2 different widths, so I don't really want to do that. What have we got? Okay, we'll take the wide one out and keep the narrow ones. And I'm just trying to cover the edges. Is it a 1/4 of an inch? Probably more, probably less. And just make sure everyone's doing their thing. Do I have any more? I've got fat, wide. Ooh. If I put the extra down below, it'll get covered up by that neck strip that goes in there. I have a lot of this. See, this way it's a lot quicker. There's not, too much going on, and you can always adjust as needed. Like, make this a little bit of a scant 1/4 of an inch so that that's covering everything. Use the fabrics that have, if you've been sewing with the fabrics, I would hope that you have enjoyed the fabrics, unless you're doing them because someone chose them and you didn't have a choice. So here's the skinny piece. This one, because it's narrower down there for the candy cane, I'll put that like that, and I'll take that skinny piece and put it on top. These I'm going to trim off because I'm going to get them hooked onto my shirt and pull them off. And then I have this one. Design wall really helped for the t-shirt quilt, definitely. I wanted to let you guys know today, before I forget, I've decided that Instead of Whip It Wednesdays during Advent, I'm going to open up Advent gifts live. So I have the Friends Advent, which for all I know, it's already arrived. It's supposed to come in the mail today. So Friends Advent, the Advent stuff that some of you have sent to me, so the little bits that I've set aside, I wrapped them up. So we can open those up. This is another Walmart fabric. This is not. I thought that would be a good thing to do on the live streams because I'm not going to have a lot to show like on Whip It Wednesdays. I'm still working on the videos for Advent. I don't know. I don't have a lot done, but I have some. Obviously, I'll have to get them all done soon. And then I want to see if I can start doing videos ahead. Plus, it'll be the end of the year, and I'll start doing the paperwork and stuff at the end of the year. So I'll have all of that going on. So I thought it might be fun to open them up during, like in a live. You know, face the camera at me and just open them up like I would for a regular video, but it'll be a live stream. And that way you guys can kind of guess as we're going. It's a little bit more interactive, I think. Okay, so, oh, I didn't use this here. I thought I did. All right, we're going to use it now. I think I'll pop these up then. And put this here. And because of cutting them out, it's like a string quilt. I'll be taking these little sections. So what's over here is not over there. So I can take this and add it like that. I could even add it up there because it won't be in those fabric postcards. And I think I want this one to be on top. Sometimes it's nice to have the thinner ones up at the top. Like there's that and that, so we really don't need to move that, use that anymore. And the reindeer can go there. And I still have a lot, but these would work really good under the, like the pre-cut pieces. So I don't have to try to, if it's already either 4.5 or 6.5 or whatever the diagonal might be, it would work better to have it in smaller pieces than trying to go over the diagonal like this. And for the bottom pieces, just like a string block, you can get your triangles and put them in there. I do it this way a lot when I'm working with a one color scrap. So done, 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 done. So we just have this bottom corner here. So it's a little red. Maybe we don't want to go crazy red. Let me get my triangle bit. Put this little truck here. Oh, I have this guy. I have the Nomies. If I have a bigger triangle, here's a bigger one. And then I just need that piece right there. We're in the Walmart section, so let's put more Walmart fabric in. And that's it. Now that one's done. So that one's a lot quicker and easier. And especially if you're using like leftover jelly roll, you can do it this way with your jelly roll strips. You can do it and do as quilt as you go with the string blocks. Or if you have like 1.5-inch strips, you can look at this technique and say, oh, I don't like fabric postcards, but maybe I can do it this way and incorporate it this way for the style of projects that I work on. The lightweight fusible interfacing, I don't find it useful for very many. Like, I'll put it on the pockets in a tote bag and stuff like that. Something that's just going to give it a little more structure without adding a lot of weight and stuff to it and making it stiff. But I like it a lot for projects like this. Oh, did I adhere this down everywhere? I'm going to do this. Ta-da. This does get extremely hot to the touch. Laura, you've had too much of an adventure in your life lately. Sometimes you just have to say, I have to deal with this stuff and I'll worry about other things later. I would hope most people know that it takes a long time to make quilts and stuff and that they're patient. I've seen some pretty creative and interesting ways to make t-shirt quilts and, excuse me, I need chapstick, baby quilts with leftover baby clothes and stuff like that. Thank you, Laura. Now remember, this really is like string quilt blocks and stuff. It tends to be a little uglier when you first look at it. And then when you start cutting it up into smaller chunks, then it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I can see that. That's a lot better than, you know, I was a little nervous there for a while. It does take a bit to get it fused. If you have like a heat press or something, you'll build it on something that you can just slide in there, and it'll press it a lot quicker for you. Exactly, Jackie. I do that too. I mean, you, depending on what you're making, you might have like too many of the same fabrics because you're getting 4 of each square, and then they also might have 2 or 3 of the same charm squares multiplied by 4 mini charms, so it can be a little annoying, but I do the same thing. And layer cakes, I don't use layer cakes as 10-inch squares anyways. I tend to cut them up, and they are usually a little bit more expensive. We've got to watch where our money goes and make sure we're spending it wisely. So I'm always looking for sales and all kinds of stuff like that. All right. Let me pick up my mess. These are no longer all nice and neat, but they're my fabric. I'm going to throw these away. They're my fabric postcards, so I don't worry about it being super neat. Sometimes I will I use the same Ziploc baggies over and over, so I'll go in my stash and maybe I'll get the snack size ones or a sandwich one to put. I have an ad. All of these together, because if I want these to stay together, I like to just put them in a Ziploc baggie. I'm going to put them in the bowl for now, so I can do those separately. And then let's see how it's doing. With the bigger pieces, it is easier, a little more confident. Now I find that interfacing, as many people also find, it doesn't iron from this side very well, but you can put down a pressing cloth. But if I see bits like this that are just sticking up, this iron does pretty good because you really have to press and lift. I just iron the cord. I can go through, but it's small and it takes forever. So you pop on YouTube videos. Tis the season for Hallmark movies and Christmas movies. I haven't gotten into them this year though. Yep, mug rugs for everyone. That's perfect. I have really been enjoying the coasters, making the coasters. I can feel accomplishment in, 1 or 2 days, depending on what time of day I start them. And you guys have been loving them too, it seems, because they fly off the shelves. My daughter saw one of my little reel advertisements for, I think it was Gray Friday, that I showed the Christmas mug rugs. And she loved them. Her and her friend loved them, and they're like, they each want some. I'm like, hey, anytime you see something, if you see a fabric you like, tell me and let me know what you want, and I'll tell you if I have enough fabric for it. But coasters, I'll make coasters all day for you. She's like, it would be really nice to have, cloth napkins. I'm like, yeah, Walmart sells them. I think you should go there and buy some. I said, I didn't make cloth napkins for myself. I'm not going to make them for you. I don't like to make cloth napkins. They would be easier like on a serger. Plus, I know my daughter. Cloth napkins is not something she's going to want. Because it's just, I had them before for them when, they were younger, and it's just fabric. Y'all hooked me up on these waffle weave ones. Y'all hooked me up. Listen to me. I'm all crazy now. Someone told me, because I was talking about how we had these kitchen towels that I really like that have that waffle texture to it. And you said to get these and use them as napkins. So I found 12-inch ones or 12.5-inch or whatever. And I love these as napkins, but I can't find them. I think I got them at Walmart. So I just take them, and I don't want to show you the dirty side. So today I'll use like this side and this side, and for the 2 meals. And tomorrow, if it's not dirty, this one has peanut butter on it, or pumpkin pie, that's what that is, I'll flip it over and use the other side, and then I just wash it. And I save a lot of money on napkins. I'm not filling up, I'm saving money on trash bags, because I also don't do paper plates. I mean, I don't save money on trash bags because the boys do, but I love those. Jackie, did you make it just out of the cotton fabric or flannel fabric? I think I would want to have linen fabric. I don't like, a lot of people just make them with this fabric, and it's fine for Christmas dinner or something. But I feel like, let's say I'm having barbecue, right? I feel like I'm just smearing the barbecue across my face. I'm not actually wiping anything off my face. And same thing with my hands. It doesn't feel like I'm getting anything accomplished, right? Oh yeah, it's nice when you have everyone have their own. Definitely. No fighting over them. And I'll look at these pieces that I cut off, and if they're a decent size, I'll save them. Like these reindeer are nice fabric, so I'll save that. This is fine. I kind of like this one. So I'll save that for filler fabric. So if I need it in little spaces, I'll do it. And I still have this small container. It didn't get much smaller, but I have used up a bunch. And without doing the math, maybe I can get 9 postcards out of each. So I can get 15 to 20 postcards out of what we just did. Oh, Mom's old tablecloths. Yeah, so they have that texture. I'm a little crazy because what I like this week, I might not like next year or something. So I do change things up a lot. And that's it. The playlist for the fabric postcards is in the description box. So if anyone needs to see the actual tutorial on how to do it, see, like this one gets flipped up a little. That would be a problem to do some type of free motion quilting. So you add a little bit of glue because it's fabric on fabric. It's not hitting the fusible interfacing. And don't go crazy with the liquid glue because it can leave like a shadow spot where you could see where the glue was. So just be careful. So as I'm sewing, if I run across an issue where it's not sticking very well, I'll just keep the glue bottle nearby. And off I go. So this way, if I were just, come on, iron. If I were quilting these individually, I would sew on the diagonal. You could do like a zigzag stitch or some fancy stitch or just a bunch of straight line stitching is what I usually do. You can also go in the opposite direction because these are such long strips. The only thing you'd have to pay attention to is where they intersect right there and they lay over on the next piece. You'd want to make sure you go over that seam right there at the edge, and then so you might not be able to do everything exactly even because this one is right here and then this one is more than 1/4 of an inch over, so it wouldn't be easy to get it done like that. That's funny, Laura. Yeah, I don't worry too much. Hi, Lucy. I'm sorry, but I'm getting ready to say goodbye. We were working on preparing some panels to make fabric postcards at some point. So this one, let's cut this one up, this first one here, just so that you can see the difference between what it looks like now and what it will look like once I cut it down to size and it's ready to become fabric postcards. So I'm going to cut it, I'm just going to go at 5x7 just to make sure that depending on how much quilting I do, that I'll still get a 4.5 by 6.5. So the first step would be to get a ruler. I have so many projects on the go just this week sitting over there on the corner. So I'll take, yeah, I really think the up and down is nice and all, but I think the diagonal brings it up just a little bit. So you can do tone on tone, like subtle colors, maybe silvers and stuff like that. You don't have to go novelty nuclear. I can only think of nuclear. You don't have to go crazy like Christmas just exploded all over the place. Square up one side. And I do like to look at it and just kind of figure out the measurements a little. I usually bring out the calculator just to double check my math. So this is about 16 inches tall and about 20 inches. So if I were doing if I'm doing 5x7, so that's pretty good. So that 7 would be 21, but if I do cut it in 5s, then I'll be okay. So 7 is my length and 5 is my height. So let me look at this. I want it to look like this, so I actually need to cut these 7 inches this way. So I'll put it on my mat. I have that straight edge lined up over there. Let me see, where's 10? I'll put it on 10. I put it on 10, and then I'm cutting it 4.5 by 6.5, but I'm increasing it to 7 to allow for shrinkage due to quilting because I quilt it so densely that it's an issue. My ruler is 6.5 inches. Oh, my snowman's just right on there. So I cut that by 7. And then it would be 24. Sometimes I cut it a smidge larger when I put it on the comic book board as needed, just to make sure. Sometimes it looks a little weird and it needs to. Okay, so this one I cannot cut it that same way. So now, because the big ruler can just get a little annoying, I am going to get the smaller ruler just to make life easier. And it's a benefit of having multiple rulers in the studio. So if you have them, use them, right? Instead of trying to move that whole big ruler around. You can use, you first threw me off there for a second with the stripes because y'all know I love my stripe fabric. You can use just striped fabric on your postcards, just polka dot fabric on the postcards, and create something that way. So I'm going to square off the bottom, just slide it down. It doesn't matter if there's interfacing underneath the fabric because it's going to be quilted still. I will use my scraps of fusible interfacing like this. I'll just lay them down on the ironing station and overlap them 1/4 of an inch, give or take, and create a bigger piece so that all my scraps are used. With as much quilting as I do on these, it's not going to matter about a seam or something. Plus, it's a postcard. Now, I know I have a bit of a high price on my fabric postcards, but you can see just the start of the process and then the amount of time it takes to put stitching 1/4 of an inch or less all the way down on it. You're added the batting, you do the stitching, then you trim it again, then it goes on to the comic book board, and then I have to stitch all the way around. It's a bit of a process. So there's my 7. So I want to cut it 5 by 7. You know, one of the light bulbs is out and it's still glaring, driving me crazy. Sometimes I get little bits on the side. It happens. Now, they might get trimmed off when I cut it to 4.5 by 6.5, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. So that's a fabric postcard. And if I wanted to keep the snowman and not chop him through his belly, I can always adjust it. There's a fabric postcard. Now I do have this end here, so maybe I want to have more of this stripe, the strips of fabric versus all of the little bits. So I'll square up this end because I have all of these little pre-cut fabrics there, so I can turn it this way and they can get cut off, and then I can decide maybe I want to move it up a little if I want to get those candy canes and not have as much of the peppermint swirls or something. That piece I will throw away. If it was wider, I might sew it together with other ones. So now that's a fabric postcard. So there we have 3. And I can just do the same thing here. And I don't stack them together and just trim them. And little bits will fall off because you cut them off, right? So I do cut them one by one so I can see where it is. Like these snowmen, maybe I want those candy canes in, and I have to remind myself these are scraps that were destined for the trash. So if I lose some extra because I wanted to shift where it was, and this is going to get cut off, it's okay because it was due to trash. Oh, I know. I just wanted to say that sometimes people might look at it and say, why is it like that? I want to make some more fabric postcards with just one piece of fabric on it, specifically for holidays and birthdays, and those prices will be lowered. But I don't think everyone may or may not realize how much time goes into these. Well, first of all, if you don't like the price, you don't buy it, right? But not everyone realizes, so I want to get that snowman in there definitely. Because remember, I'm going to cut this down to 4.5. So I'm going to slide that down some to make sure I get the snowman in there. Now, I've learned not to worry about my prices and apologize. I do a lot of research. I do the math, and I make sure that my prices are based on my experience on how I make things and the talent that I feel that I have, the experience that I have. I base it on being in the top. If you go 0 to 100, 80% and below, I don't look at those. I look at those numbers, but I don't consider them. So I feel that at the top 20% out of 100 prices, that the quality of mine and what I'm making should be at that higher end based on the product that I'm using, the fabric and stuff. And this one is perfect, just like that. So I want to make sure that I'm at the higher tier of it. But if I'm just making something like the jar openers and the bowl cozies, if everyone charges $8.50 for a bowl cozy, I'm going to charge $8.50 for a bowl cozy, you know. But when it comes to like my tote bags, I know the amount of work and the extra bit that you can't see in the picture on Etsy of my tote bags. The double stitching, the extra interfacing, the specialty pockets and the snap closure and all of that. I do a lot more, so I don't feel bad charging that extra. I ended up with 15 charm square packs from Missouri Star. 6 different designs. They will last me almost a year. Jackie, that's crazy. 15 charm packs. Wow. Exactly, Laura. Hi, Yvette Marie. It doesn't matter if I try to explain that to some people that this is throwaway fabric, so they shouldn't charge for it. They should practically give away stuff, right? But you bought a yard of this and you paid $15 or more a yard. Some fabric is $25, $35 a yard. So you already paid that amount, whether it's this little piece or if it's a large piece. It's priced out when I do my inventory at the end of the year and I do all my books for my small business. I have to inventory this by the square inch. So I paid, I don't know, 14 cents, 7 cents a square inch, whatever it comes out to, whether it's this big a piece or if it's a half yard sitting on my shelf. I know the people, oh, sorry, I yelled. I know the people that just want to complain about the prices and saying that they're too high. They're not my customers. They're not understanding always what goes into making something handmade. But if I'm just taking 2 pieces of fabric and slapping it together, I'm not going to go crazy on it. I do value my time. I decided, based on what a lot of other people do, that $20 an hour is a good starting price for just basic sewing skills. And then depending on what you're making and how more of a technique it is and stuff, you know, you charge more. But I don't know, it's just crazy. You're gonna have so many, Jackie, to make all of your mug rugs and stuff. Did you get a fabric to put it on the back of it, or are you just gonna go into your stash? That's usually where I get in trouble, when I need a backing fabric and I'm like, oops. Then I have to go hunt around to find it. My patrons see that a lot. I don't know if they notice, but I'm like, uh-oh. So this is definitely not enough. So I'm going to cut this at 5 inches. And just look, which ones do I want? Do I worry about this little angel bear? Do I want to make sure I get more of the dog in or something? This is my shortest piece. It has to be in that spot at least. I can't go any further over. So if I just put it here and I look at what I'm cutting off, I'm like, whatever, it's fine. Ultimately, it's a fabric postcard, right? I mean, it's not like rocket science. It's not this huge big deal. Sometimes I get locked into something. I worry more about this than I worry about something larger, right? So now I need this to be 7 inches. My snowman is probably going to get lost. But now after I quilt this, when I go to trim it, if it lands right here, when I trim the postcard, I can trim it there. So I don't have to always move it down and trim it. I can still consider it that since this is such a wide piece, I got lucky and it trimmed right there at the gingerbread house. And then 7 inches. I have the strips down here, so again, I will trim this off. So I gotta say, I do a lot of shopping at Fat Quarter Shop, but I am so grateful to have these rotary cutters with the ball bearings from Missouri Star because I'm barely moving this. I find that I don't have the shoulder pain that I used to get from sitting here and cutting all day because somehow it makes it a bit more ergonomical for me to use this than the regular. I'm not like forcing it down. I really can just, I have to give a little bit of pressure, but if I start straight up and then it rocks down and I'm only holding it like this. Now the blade's not super new. I've been trimming a lot of stuff with it. Now this one's larger, but when I take it over to quilt it, I might not pay attention, so I will just trim that little bit off. So slow motion, it goes like this, and it kind of rocks up. So I start up, and then I go like that. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but it sure feels good. So I think I'm using it the perfect way that it needs to be used for me. I've also noticed that these change in appearance a lot when I quilt it. Adding those quilting lines, it tends to help all the fabric just kind of meld together and settle down, and everybody's nice and flat. You don't have any visions of seeing where they're overlapped or anything. And oh look, I chopped him in half. I'm gonna move him like that so we don't have to look at him. And I think they just turn out great. I really enjoy, that's why I have a ton of these. Now, I can't do anything about these because these are not going to be done, but I would love to send out some Christmas fabric postcards to you guys. Let me know if you want to see them. I'd have to go to another room to get them, or you can just be surprised. So let me pull some names, and I would love to they're already ready to go. There's plenty of time before Christmas since we haven't even hit December yet. Exactly, Jackie. Stock up on your basics, right? Oh, in the back. Oh, that's perfect. I am trying to use what I have and buy what I need. Like in the new year, I need white on white, tone on tone fabric. I need some new gray fabric. And then after that, I'll just go as I need. So I'm going to call out your name. If you want a fabric postcard, my email is on my YouTube channel in the description box. Send me your mailing address, or you can send it to me on Instagram if that's easier. And I'd love to send anyone who's listening and commenting right now a fabric postcard. And if someone else after that, depending on how many people say yes, if you email me and later on and you're like you really really want one, I'll let you know if I can send you one or not, based on how much I have, how many I'm already sending out, and stuff like that. And I do have Christmas ones in the shop. I have the snuggly sweater or the ugly sweater. I have these. I don't know if they're in the shop. The ho 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 ones. Oh, and the elf legs. So those were really fun ones. So Jackie, if you'd like one, Laura, Yvette Marie, who else is here today? Lucy, I can send one to England, Lucy, not a problem. So if you've commented on the live stream while I was officially live, and you chatted, I would love to send you a fabric postcard. How many people do we have? We have 32 people. I don't know if I can send out 32. I know I can do at least 20 because I have one book of stamps. Melanie? Yeah, so let's go the first 20 people to email me or message me on Instagram. Gwen, if you're still here. Janice. Oh, Cheryl. I don't know if I saw Cheryl or not. Cheryl, if you're still here. Hi, Cheryl. David from New Mexico. So first 20 people to send me your mailing address, I will send you a Christmas fabric postcard this week. It's not these, but it'll be similar. So let me know when I get to the bottom if I should go in the other room and pull them out. You want to see them? I have to take off my microphone. I have everything in a different closet now, so I'll be right back. Just give me a moment. I won't be long. All right, sorry. I was trying to be a smart butt and I thought I could pull the bin from the bottom and all the ones on the top wouldn't fall on my head. And then I got stuck holding up a bunch of bins and I had to call for reinforcements. So what I have for these that I'm willing to send out, I'll show you what's in the Etsy shop right now. So I have the elf legs. I have plenty of those left over. These are the sweaters. So there's a variety of sweaters. And I think I let you choose which one. And I have Thanksgiving ones left over too. And this is this year's. But the ones that I have that are similar to what you're seeing here, which will give you an idea of what they look like. Let me see how many I have. I did say the number 20 for a book of stamps, but I might not have 20 fabric postcards. All right. Now, I can't let you choose exactly which one I would send to you, but I got heated up. So we got one. See this? When you add the quilting on it, it kind of just settles everything down, right? These are overlapped the same way as those, but these were made individually. And I did a red zigzag stitch on it to hold them all down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, look, I have some of these. 6. I think these might be from my stash. 7, 8, 9. See how the diagonal, it just kind of changes it up a little bit? Oh, you guys might have to help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 8, 8. This one has flannel. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, even crazy. 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm going to say 16 because I don't think I have that one in the shop. And that's just apples. I don't know why it's there. I have 16. So the first 16 people to send me your mailing address, I will send out one of these Christmas postcards that will then get replaced with those. Thanks, Jackie. My email address is in the description box, and I think it's, oh, I wonder if it's not in the live description box. Let me see. It's the show and tell with Robin. Okay, if you'd like to share what you're working on or have a question, you can email me here. Show and tell, SHOWANDTELL with Robin at gmail.com. So if you just go to this description box and you hit show more or whatever it says, you have to scroll down a little bit. And it's right where my P.O. box is. So when you see the P.O. box, then it's right above that. Thank you, Lucy. That's very sweet of you. Thanks, Jackie, for helping her out. So as I said, if you're with me on Instagram, I'll go by the timestamp. And you know how I am. Even if more people up to 20, I will send you something that's not a Christmas one, right? So solid fabric. I don't know about that Christmas one. That's the only one that concerns me because I made that with the leftovers from the coasters. And I don't think I put it in there. I think I just made a coaster like that. And I try to save each year, whatever holiday one I'm making, I try to save it for myself just to have one as a memory because I enjoy them so much. So I try to save them for myself. So I don't know if that's one of mine or what. But I need to empty out some of this so that I can have room to put the new ones in, right? Plus, you saw that whole stack that I had that needs to be finished. And for anyone that's curious, Walmart and Target, there are the dimensions for a screenshot. It's 17 by 11 1/8 by 6 1/2. And they fit my fabric postcards perfectly. I have, oh, that's the water. I have a cat water fountain and it goes every time you walk by and it turns on. These, make sure my address isn't showing. These are on Patreon. I follow someone that does hand embroidery. And because of the tier that I'm on, each month she sends us a pre-printed piece of fabric. This is littledeer.com. So she has patterns on, I think, Etsy and pre-printed stuff like this, and you can find her on Patreon. And when you support at a certain dollar amount level, it's not very high. I think it might be $10 or less. I can't see where my camera is. I have a sticker each month, and then she sends us this little square. It's 7 1/2 inches, it looks like, and it's pre-printed, and she does a video and showing you what stitches to use. But really, you could just sew these together into a quilt or mini wall hangings if you wanted. So then you add the embroidery stitches, and she just does a fun variety of things. And I love supporting her. I never watch any of her videos, and I've been collecting these for a rainy day when I can just sit down and do a little hand embroidery. You can see I've been supporting her for a while, definitely in Florida and then here. And I just keep it in the envelope each month. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 20. I have 30 of them. And I think it'll just be really fun. You sent it on Instagram? Thank you, Yvette Marie. I'll check it out there for you. Good night, Lucy. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for hanging out on my short 45-minute to 1 hour live streams that never end in that little amount of time. So I appreciate everyone, and I'm really happy to send out a little Christmas greeting card to you. And thank you for watching the videos. There's no live stream tomorrow because there's 5 Saturdays. For my patrons, this is the 5th Sunday, so there's no video on Sunday. I'll see everyone. Oh, the 1st is on Monday, so we'll start the Advent series on Monday. And when I do the Whip It Wednesday live streams in December and unwrap Advent gifts, it's not going to be at the same time that the video comes out. I'll try to do it somewhere around 11 a.m. or sometime in the afternoon. And once I figure out a time, I'll try to stay on that time every Wednesday. Oh, Lisa Cape and Quilts, right? She makes some amazing things. I've watched her forever. She's like the master of t-shirt quilts. She also has an older video talking about how to price your quilts. And even though the numbers are different, the process and the math that she shows you to do is really spot on if you're trying to figure out how to do. You're not super tech savvy. That is fine. It works. That's why I thought, Laura, you were on Instagram. You can send it right there, and that works out really well. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I hope you find some good Black Friday deals. I'm going to virtually wander around Michael's, and then I have to take the cats to the vet on Monday, so I have to put gas in my car. I'm hoping by Sunday that the craziness settles down so I can go up to Sam's and put some gas in my car. Bye, guys. Merry, merry, ho, ho. What's Thanksgiving? Oh, gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble. Don't rush